This is Josh Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by Shane Watson here over Zoom. Shane, like us off camera, it's been a while, but how is everything, mate? You all good?
Yeah, very good, mate. Currently in my hotel in Liverpool. I've got Commonwealth Silver title fight tonight for Abdul Khan, headlining on the Zone. It's my first title fight since I've not been at SJM actually, so it's a pretty exciting one for me. Yeah, mate, it's raring to get going for tonight. Hopefully a W. I know, well, I don't say hopefully. I know we're going to get a W, but you never know. Mad things happen in boxing, but looking forward to get a good W tonight. I've also got James Hennigan on tonight, who's fighting at 160. He's got a tough fight against Mario Rodriguez. He's the one who had a close fight with one of the Fell brothers recently. I think he lost by a point or two. Good little fighter is. He beat someone 10-0 the other week as well. So he's a good little fighter. Yeah, mate, a nice little busy night of the boxing. And then that's what I like on a Friday night. It gives me the weekend still afterwards. So I can go out and keep the weekend. So it's all good.
Fair enough, fair enough. Just obviously looking on yourself, obviously you mentioned tonight's first title fight since you've left SJM and gone on your own path. How has this journey been of doing it all on your own now and not having that same team around you that you had before?
To be brutally honest with you, fucking difficult. But yeah, SRAM is a superb business. I obviously haven't got the luck of having someone with the experience of Adam Morley around me anymore. Well, listen, I'm not around me. It's not like we hate each other, but I mean, in the sense of like we don't work together anymore. Who's very experienced, very knowledgeable, wealthy. I know, all these things obviously massively help and give you a good thing to start on. Unfortunately, I'm none of those things. Well, actually, that's not completely true. I guess I've built up some good experience over the years. I've gained a lot of experience. For a 29-year-old, I think I'm pretty experienced. I don't think there are many 29-year-olds that have the same experience as me, I guess, in boxing. So that's one thing I do have. I guess I'm quite knowledgeable now, but yeah, I'm not rich yet, sadly. We're working there. We're working there. But yeah, no, it's very difficult because you almost have to start again, and it's difficult to do that at 29. It's all right when I was 21 and I started at SJAM, but starting over again, and boxing's difficult to try and keep everyone on your side.
Mm.
When you almost go through like a breakup, which is kind of what I guess it was to some extent. You got to try and rebuild relationships with certain people. People talk and say things, and it makes life a little bit difficult. But if I'm being honest, I'm on a bit of a good run at the moment. I've signed some really good fighters, got some really good announcements coming, some big fights, headlining fights on TV, big titles and stuff coming now as well. I've signed some pretty good names recently. So I'm on a good run. So hopefully the momentum just continues. But it was a very difficult few months. It was actually a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be. I've got to be honest. I was probably a little bit naive because I worked at the top level in boxing management for a long period of time. I thought it'd be a stroll in the park, and I'll be brutally honest, it's been anything but. But it's getting easier and it's getting better, and I'm just excited, man. I'm excited. It's going to be a good end of year for me. I've got a very good start to 2025 coming up, which is really, really good. It's all we can really ask for, really. So yeah, it's been difficult, and it always will be difficult because managing and working in boxing is never going to be easy. But it's definitely better than what it was. So it's good. It's good, and I still keep in contact with most of the SDM guys, staff, and fighters. I pretty much talk to all of the fighters really on a daily basis. So yeah, it's good. It's all good. Yeah, it's going all right. Stressful, yes. Hairline is struggling a little bit these days, but yeah, no, it's all right.
Obviously, I know 2024 is not quite over yet, and you still have obviously you've got two fights coming up tonight when recording this. But how would you reflect on your 2024 as a whole as the year comes to a close?
To be honest, I haven't done much boxing wise this year. We had Khalil's fight in I can't remember when that was earlier this year
June? I think
on
it's
Channel 5. I mean, I've worked with other fighters, but silently as well. I've done other stuff in boxing, but I've not really spoke about it
mm,
for many reasons. And then I'm having a busy end of the year, so I kind of can't really reflect until the end of the year because I've got a title fight tonight. I've got a title fight next month that hasn't been announced yet. Potentially two title fights next month that haven't been announced yet. So really, all of my work's coming at the end of the year, really, boxing wise. So, but if we win all the fights, I reflect on it being a very good year, really. To be honest. But so yeah, I just kind of really don't. We've got a win tonight. Well, we've got two wins to get tonight, and then that'd be great. It's mate. All it's about really is just to keep winning keep the fighters happy, keep the trainers and the teams happy, keep the promoters happy, TV executives happy, and signing the talent that I think are good people first and foremost, and good fighters would be helpful as well. And then keep pushing on. But I don't want too many more, man. I've already got 6 signed, so maybe one more. I mean, there's a special talent. You're never ever going to say no, are you? But like, it's a hard game, this management now, because everyone's a manager these days, and there are some great managers out there, and there are some managers that can offer a lot more than I can, being brutally honest. But there are certain fighters I think I'm the best manager for, and they're people that need someone like me around them all the time, and I can relate to them a lot, and certain things like that. There are certain people I think I'm the best man for them, and there are certain people I'm definitely not. There are certainly managers that can offer their fighters more than I can, but they maybe can't offer the same things that I can. So that's the way that I look at it. Like, I'm never going to be, realistically, I'm never going to be as wealthy as Adam and Esham. But the benefit of working in boxing full time and stuff like that, maybe I can potentially give them more time and I can relate to them a bit more because I'm close to their age and certain things like that. Maybe I'm more of a people's person. I don't know. I'm not saying that, I'm just making him as an example because he does very well outside of boxing. So yeah, maybe that's just the way I look at it. But yeah, it's a difficult game because there were some great managers out there. Like Sam Jones has got a great stable. Lee Eaton's got a great stable. Esham's got a great stable. STN have got a great stable. T5A have got we've got a decent stable-ish. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's a difficult world, but that's kind of, I'm looking more into the American market now. I've signed 2 very good American fighters that are getting announced very soon, with very big TV deals as well. I think there's a gap there more than there is in the UK because there's too many in the UK now, and it's difficult to battle against these guys because when you're trying to excel yourself to them, some of the like Olympians and stuff, we're like, well, why would they necessarily pick me when they've got all these other guys who've got the best talent, the most experience, and stuff like that? So it's a bit difficult, but it's good. It's been a good year to some extent. And it's build. What I've done really this year is build for the next year. It takes a long time. You've got to negotiate with promoters. You've got to negotiate with the fighters so you can get hold of them in the first place. You've got to build a bit of a platform to start off with. You've got to get finances together. It takes a little bit of time, and you've got to rebuild relationships that maybe have been broken. So it all takes a little bit of time. But I'm feeling a good 2025.
Well, very good to hear. Let's just steer away. While the year is not done yet, there's a lot of big fights coming up. We'll go straight in and look at the deep end at the very last Saturday before Christmas. Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk 2. I can see your hat that you're already repping the Romford Bull, who will also be out on the card against Dave Allen. So we'll
Always.
start off talking about that fight. What do you make of this fight for Johnny at this stage of his career?
Hats off to Esham, man, and Sam. I'm not 100% sure how that relationship working, but um, hats off to them, man. It's great matchmaking because it's a great style for Johnny. Respectively, Dave Allen is a good fighter. He's very experienced, a big name in British boxing, very well known to British fight fans. So it's a good win for Johnny. It's the biggest name. It'll be the biggest name on his record today, even though Babic was a big name, a decent name as well. But it's by far bigger name than Babic. And respectively, not to be disrespectful to Babic, but Dave Allen beating people who've actually got some quality in the sense of Lucas Brown. He's got some very good wins over his career, and he'd only lost to Dylan White at that time. People forget that. And Nick Webb, who's undefeated at the time, he's come off a good win against Conor Benn. So he's still got some left in the tank. So they're 2 legitimate wins. And I think that's the first time Johnny's gone in there against a guy who's got the experience, the size, and all of that stuff. Dave Allen. Obviously, it's interesting because they sparred so many years ago. But yeah, I back Johnny to win that fight. I expect him to win it fairly comfortably. I do think Dave Allen will have a few tricks up his sleeve. He's very experienced. He knows Johnny quite well. But I just think that style is very good for Johnny always, like a block that comes forward in almost straight lines. That's kind of there to be. It's got a high, tight guard. I think Johnny's got the fast hands, and he's definitely got the power to get Dave's respect and to cause a lot of problems in that fight. So that's kind of where I see it going. I don't know if he's going to stop him, to be honest. It's difficult to say because when you're not in the camps anymore, like before, I could have told you almost near what was going to happen because I was in the camps. But when you're not, you hear things, but you can't really say with authority because you don't know. But I would I wouldn't put it past Johnny stopping Dave Allen on his feet. But then again, Dave Allen's experience as well. But I do believe Johnny will win the fight. I'll be on point to stop him on his feet. I think.
And another fight on the card, a fight that hasn't been spoke about as much, in my opinion. Moses Atama versus Dempsey McKean. And when you look at Dempsey McKean, a man who's only lost to Filip Hrgovic and took him all 12 rounds, Moses Atama at 19, scary that he's only a year older than me, is stepping up, and a fighter that is, you could genuinely say, world level. What do you make of this step up for Moses?
I'm 10 years older than him, man. That is mental. You know what? It's a really interesting thing. I met Moses once when he was 16. Yeah, he came and sparred Joe Joyce when we were potentially going to fight Usyk for the WBO interim title. And he came at 16 in his school uniform, man. And he sparred Joe and gave great rounds. And I saw from that day, like, that guy was going places, man. He's so good. Like, competitive rounds at 16, you know, he's a great talent. And he's a lovely guy, Moses, as well. But all the time for him in the world, he's a great guy. I'll be honest with you, I really don't see the hype regarding this being a competitive fight. Yeah, respectively, he went round against Hrgovic, but he didn't win any of the rounds. He didn't really come to fight. And like, you know, I just struggled to see, like, I remember when the announcement got made, and all of the fights are good, by the way. I'm not discrediting it. It's still a good step up for Moses considering his age. I'm not discrediting that. But people were trying to make out to be a competitive fight. I'm like, going off of what? I like Gypsy King. He's definitely got some quality there, of course. But when has he shown us anything to suggest that he can cause any problems for Moses? He's never shown us anything. The only thing you can say is he's got a good record, fairly experienced to a level. He stepped up and he got beat comprehensively. It's a fact. So really, like, you know, I wouldn't really look too deep into all of that and say it's a competitive fight. I don't think it will be at all. And that's not discredit to Dempsey McKean, because Moses Hume is a special fighter who I think will dominate that division for years to come in the future if he's guided in the right way, which I'm sure he will be, because Frank Warren's very good at that. But I don't see that as a competitive fight. I'm just being honest. I know that it's going to upset people. They're not going to like it. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, because I've not seen anything from Dempsey McKean to suggest that he can cause Moses Atuma problems. I think Moses Atuma has already beaten better people in the amateurs than what he's going to fight already as a pro anyway, and he's definitely sparred better people anyway. So yeah, I don't expect too many problems. I expect the typical Moses Atuma performance. I don't think you'll see too many people give Moses Atuma a problem until he really steps up to British level, and even then, will they? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Because he's that good, and he seemed a very focused guy. So a very mature guy for his age as well, you know. So, and he's got a good team around him. He's got a great coach, you know, world level team. I don't think they'll let him take his eye off the ball as well. He's got everything he really needs to be a world heavyweight champion already, almost. So yeah, I wouldn't look into that too much. I don't think Dempsey McKean's going to cause too many problems. Could be wrong though. I've been wrong before, but we'll see.
And obviously, you mentioned that Moses Atama has everything to be a world heavyweight champion. Let's talk about the main event, which includes the world heavyweight champion, Oleksandr Usyk, as he rematches Tyson Fury. We've seen the 12 rounds that they shared back in May, and it's still one of those fights where you're still not quite sure what's going to happen because of how dominating they both were in periods of the fight. What do you think happens in this rematch?
I'm going to tell you something, right? I was having this conversation yesterday. There are certain fighters you don't rematch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are the ones. I'm going to make a few. There's going to be more before anyone says it in the comments or whatever. I'm just going to make a few of recent times. Yeah. Andre Ward, you don't rematch people like that, because once they figured you out, you're fucked, basically. They've downloaded all that information. They know they can beat you. They know exactly what you're doing before you're going to do it. So people like Andre Ward, people like Floyd Mayweather, people like, I would even say Fury in a way, but Usyk's just that little bit almost cuter, yeah. And even I know that I don't think he's even had a rematch yet, but people like Dimitri Bivol, we know these people that are just, they're like machines. They just download all this information. It's like they're scientific in the way they work. And you don't rematch people like that, because I'm telling you, Usyk will be better the second time. And there's every chance that Fury could be better the second time as well. You know, he had that cut early in the camp and the other camp and that, and allegedly there was problems. And I heard that really sad story about his wife's the loss of their baby and stuff, and of course that's going to have an effect, of course, it would have on any human being it would. But I just think Usyk is just that good, that experience. He knows Fury now, and you don't rematch guys like that. Jorge Linares is another one. Once they've got your intel, you know, like when you rematch Qualler and people like that, you know, they just got you now. That's it. And that's exactly why Kevin Mitchell said he didn't want to rematch Linares. He said if I couldn't do him the first time, it'd be impossible the second time. You just got to get them on that chance when you've got them there, you know, and that's it. Like, so, like, and you see it in like the Joshua fight and things like that, you know, like he was way better the second time, weren't you? You know what I mean? Because he downloaded all that information, knew exactly what Joshua had and what he didn't have. You just don't rematch guys like that. But listen, I'm rooting for Fury. I want him to win. Fellow Brit. Be great for British boxing, and hope we can set up some monster UK fights. We could see some big boxing back in the UK as well. And that's the dream, really. But I can't see it personally. I couldn't do it the first time. And you know what? Fury was on top for parts of the fight, but he didn't win the fight, and he should have been stopped anyway. Like, so we can all say, yeah, he did. You can't just we can't congratulate someone on winning a few rounds in a fight. He lost, not comfortably, but he lost the fight fair and square, and he should have been stopped. Really, like if that was any other fight, that person would have been stopped. I get it's all the marbles and things like that. Yeah, okay, but still, the rules are the rules. Do you know what I mean? Like the game is a game at the end of the day. But yeah, I just don't see it. But I want to be wrong. Hopefully, I am. Hopefully, I am wrong.
Do you believe that if Fury is to lose, that the Anthony Joshua fight will still have as much value and appeal to the audience out there who want to see that fight?
I mean, I wouldn't say as much, but it would still be a fucking monster fight. Yeah, I mean, like Brits don't really care about things like that, man. I don't think the Brits really care about the belts, really. I don't think so. It's just two monster names having it out everywhere. You know what I mean? They don't like each other. I don't think Dave, who fucking works in mechanics, who supports West Ham, really cares if the world title belts are on the line. I think he probably cares that they just get in there and have a fight, and so he can have his opinion on whatever he thinks the result's going to be. I don't think people really care about the belts and that. Obviously, it makes it a bigger fight.
Yeah.
But then again, AJ needs to win fights as well. What if he beats Usyk in a rematch? How's AJ warranted a fight against Fury? Let's be honest here. He got splattered by Dubois. Like no shame in that. Dubois is a very good fighter. But you know, like he hasn't warranted the Fury fight. He's got to beat some. He's got to beat a big world level name to warrant that now. You know, and look really good doing it as well. You got to think who's he beaten in a while. You know, he's beat Jermaine Franklin, Otto Wallin, and a UFC fighter. Well, PFL fighter now. But yeah, well, that doesn't warrant anything, does it? Like, if Joe couldn't warrant a world title shot off of beating Dubois, Takam, who was a good Takam as well, and Joseph Parker, I don't think beating Ngannou really warrants one either. So, that's my opinion on it. Really, like, I just think I don't see how Fury beating Usyk warrants a Joshua fight. But then saying it, I really hope it does because I really want to see it. So I hope it does. I hope it does. But yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It'd still be a monster fight. You have to ask yourselves, really, would they even want to fight after something like that? I guess. How much more money do you need? You know, like I'd be quite happy with 100 million. I'd just go off in the sunset, me, you know, to be honest. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess there's enough money to make that stuff in boxing right now. So, but I would still love to watch it. So, and I think everyone else. But I don't know what stadium that doesn't fill up still. So, I guess it's still a monster fight, isn't it?
Do you believe, obviously, in this era, you mentioned obviously how much more money there is going around, especially in that heavyweight division, that even the likes of like Deontay Wilder, who everyone has been screaming saying he needs to just retire now after the Zhang defeat, he's come back and said, I'm going to fight on. Do you feel because of how much money is going about, a lot of these heavyweights who are benefiting are going to struggle to accept retirement because of the opportunities that are out there?
The game, man. It's the game, isn't it? Like, you know, it's always going to be that way. Like, hopefully, Riyadh season that stayed involved in boxing for a long time. It seems like they are, like acquiring the Ring magazine, signing those partnership deals with Boxer, Matchroom, Queensbury. You know, that exclusive deal with the Zone. It looks like they're here for the long term, which is amazing for the sport. You know, I don't get when these people are negative about things like this. It fucking pisses me off. Right? It's like 1 minute you want to watch the big fights, 1 minute you want to see fighters get paid properly. All right, so there's someone there doing it, and now what? We don't like them because they're not in the UK. And even better than that, they have put UK fights on. They have put fights on the stage. Like, what more can they do? And what more do you want these people to do? They're literally saving the sport and making the sport a great place again,
Hmm.
and making boxing bigger than it's ever been. And yet we have a problem with that. Some people, you can't make them happy, can you? Literally, you cannot make them happy. Like that's why you can't let it annoy you, really.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I saw that Caviar pulled out against Cody. That's pretty annoying. But yeah, I don't know with the heavyweight division, man. It's a big jumble now. And you know what was weird? It's just like out of nowhere, loads of well good heavyweights just come out of nowhere. Like where have they all come from? Like they just teleported here out of nowhere. Like before the boxing, like you would say there was like 3 or 4 or 5 really good heavyweights. Now there's like 20. Like it's like very good. It's really, really good. I feel like because Riyadh season has given these heavyweights the publicity they deserve. So they were always good ones at it, but you just never knew who they were. Like like Adric Pabia was never really taken seriously before. Now he's a fucking beast. Bicoli was never taken seriously before. Now he's a beast. Do you know what I mean? Like all these random names that just come out of nowhere, and now they're just all performing incredibly well. So it's good. It's really, really good.
Who do you believe should be next for Daniel Dubois? Obviously, we were originally meant to have the Anthony Joshua rematch, but Frank Warren has said on Talksport now that he is out of the picture and will not fight Daniel Dubois on February 22nd. Which heavyweight would you like to see fill that gap?
Has to be Parker, doesn't it? I don't understand how there could possibly be another option. Like who? Who else has earned it? I mean, you could make an argument for Bicoli. But Parker, man, he's beaten Zhang.
Mm.
And I didn't even know if that guy could be beat anymore, man. Like, fucking beast. Like, half of my life, that bloke. Like, it's got to be Parker, man. The run he's beat Wilder, he's beat Zhang. I can't remember. He beat someone before that as well, didn't he? I can't remember. I know he beat Jack Massey in that way before, but I'm sure he beat someone in between that as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, he had another fight in Australia in the middle of last year.
Oh yeah, he thought that. Oh, that guy was useless, man. That guy was useless in like 40 seconds. He's like a cruiserweight. Yeah, no, yeah. So he's on a good run, Parker, man. You know what? He's taken back-to-back hard fights. Wilder and Zhang are probably the two most deadliest men I've ever seen in my life. Fuck that, honestly. Like, actually, fuck that. Like, and fuck fight them back to back, mate. Honestly, that just shows you the nuts on the bloke, mate. Like, honestly, he deserves it more than anybody. You know what? He's worked hard, man. He's stuck to it. He's stuck to his trainer. He's trusted his team. I've got the believe it or not, despite what happened years ago, I've got the utmost respect for Joseph Parker, man. You know what? He deserves it. Let him have it, man. It's a good fight as well. Good, fast hands, good head movement coming in, experience. You know, it could be an interesting fight. That it'd be a lot harder for Dubois to get his jab off against someone like Parker. And Parker's got a fucking chin on him as well. Like, let me tell you that. So, a really interesting fight. It's a big fight. Parker's got a big name as well. He's got a big name, man. He's got a really reputable name. Yeah. What other fight is there to make? Just make it. Let's just do it.
What do you think happens in a fight between them? I've been speaking to a few people recently. They've been saying they've seen Joseph Parker and he's looking bigger than ever, put on a lot of muscle. What do you believe happens if it is Dubois versus Parker next?
I think it's a fight of two halves, personally. I backed Dubois early. I know I just said about he's good shit in that, but Dubois does seriously punch with both hands.
Mm.
But I think if Parker can weather an early storm, which I expect there to be, and he can work the stab to the body, he's got a good jab to the body. It's like stab, and keep moving to the right, and stay disciplined to the game plan. I do think after 4 or 5 rounds, if Parker can start getting his shots off properly, he will start to have a lot of success.
Mm.
And I can see him potentially stopping Dubois late because he could gas him as well. He's got a good. He's grown a decent engine of recent Parker as well. Like I wouldn't say he always had the best engine, but he definitely worked on stuff in the gym and stuff and made himself fitter. I could see him overwhelming Dubois later on because you know what? Luckily for Dubois, I say luckily he's totally earned it. So it's not luck, but he had it all his own way in the Joshua fight. And
Mm.
even when he didn't have it only his own way for a couple of seconds, he looked uncomfortable, didn't he? Yeah.
Mm.
And even in Hergovich, that was the same early on. But he weathered that storm and he got through it. And then it was Ergovich to collapse. But I think that could happen the other way around in that fight. Potentially. Hopefully we see it and then we can see, can't we?
And just moving on, lastly, obviously, we saw a statement come out from Conor Benn saying that after a hearing with the NADP, he has been cleared of any wrongdoing and will be back in the ring, in a British ring, hopefully. I spoke to Frank Smith the other day, and they have said that while UCAD and the board do have a 21-day window to appeal, that they are fully focused now on just moving Conor Benn on and getting him in the biggest fights. First of all, what do you make of, I guess you could say, these 2 years? And I've never seen a drug test get so much attention, but it seems it is coming to an end now, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, there are many ways to look at this. I mean, I can't really give an actual opinion on it for probably many reasons. Number one, I don't actually know the ins and outs. I don't think anyone
Mm.
really does, apart from probably Conor Benn himself and his team. It's been a long time, probably too long for these things to happen. I mean, I guess it proves all those trolls online that it wasn't a silent ban. So gutted for them. Um, but like, it's difficult to say. At the end of the day, he did fail through drug test.
Mm.
So there was something in his body that was illegal, yeah, and that was wrong. Whether he did it intentionally, we will never know. We will never ever find that out. We will never know, yeah. Regardless, he still failed two tests, yeah.
Mm.
And people need to remember that. So he should have been banned, right? Like that. That's just kind of like you have to. It's strict liability, yeah. But on the other foot, it doesn't mean he intentionally done something wrong. He's done his time. He deserves a fair shot coming back now. He deserves it. He's done his time. He's been out the ring. He's lost of earnings and obviously quite a damaged image for a while. He's done his time. And I do want to see him in a big fight. He's a big name. He's an entertaining fighter. I like to watch him personally. But well, no, drug thing, I can't give too much of an opinion because, like I say, I don't know. I don't want to land myself in trouble as well.
Mm.
And yeah, it's just a difficult one. But he's a young man. He can come back and have a long, successful career. So I think, what is he, 26 or something? Like,
Yeah.
young man. Hopefully we're going to see big fights. And you know what? The good thing is as well, it was just a bit of like a bad mark in the sport. It's one of the negative things that nobody likes to hear or go through.
Mm.
And where the sport's in such a positive place right now, and it has been for a fair bit, it's just good to keep that going. And that it's just like this black cloud over things all the time. It's just not good, Like, let's just keep it positive. Let's get back in the ring. Let's have big fights. I just can't be bothered to keep seeing all these legal cases or another statement from this person or another statement from this person. It's just totally about negativity. Guy's got a family, he's got kids, he's done his time. Whether he shouldn't have done his time or not, that's not up to me. And my opinion isn't really valid on that. But let's just see him get back in the ring and have big fights.
Which fight out of all the ones that Conor Benn has mentioned is the most appealing to you? Obviously, we've seen the name that we've seen
I'm
name.
not interested in the Eubank Junior fight, to be honest with you. I don't really see the point of it, bearing in mind other than who their dads are. Um, I wouldn't really say there is any that's too appealing to me in the sense of like he needs to build up and have proper fights, I think, against live guys that are in their prime.
Mm.
But I think the Jaron Ennis fight would be good for him in the future. It's one I definitely don't think he'll win, but he needs to beat someone that makes you think, all right, this guy says like Mario Barrios or something like that. He's fighting tonight, like one of those guys. Like he needs to fight a legit, or even like a Ugas. Like he's got to beat a legit guy. But even he's old now. Do you know what I mean? Like he needs to fight a legit guy that can do something. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no point fighting fucking Chris Algieri, 37 years old and people like that. It doesn't help him either. This is the problem. It doesn't help him. He's getting 2 rounds, no experience. He hasn't fought a guy that's even really coming to win. Van Heerden and all these guys, like it doesn't help him. And then one day he's going to be in a hard fight, and he can have no experience at that level. It's important. It's very important matchmaking. But I don't know. I'd like to see him fight one of the big guys at 147, whoever that is. I don't want to see him fight a guy that's way smaller than him, like Javante Davis either. I just don't see the point in fights like that. These like fantasy matchups, like they're just fight. You've got loads of good guys in your own division. Let's fight one of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point in fighting someone that's way smaller than you or way bigger than you? Fight the good guys in your division first. And maybe when you're older and you have these weird fantasy matches up, then just go and have them then. But when you're in your prime years, you should be fighting the best guys in your division. That's what they all do.
Mm. Just one last one. It's just popped to me now. Back on Fury Usyk. Obviously, we spoke, I think, within 2 days after the fight, and you said that Fury might need to change his team. Obviously, he has come out and confirmed that he's sticking with the same team. What do you make of that move from Tyson?
For me, that is crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's clear to everybody on planet Earth what some of the problems were on that fight night.
Mm.
And the corner being one of them. And probably the biggest one for sure. But it baffles me. I don't know if he's just saying that though. Fury, you never know how to play Fury, I don't. Fury is a very, very smart man. Very smart man. He will know exactly what went wrong and he will know that was a problem. Keeping the same corner doesn't mean that John Fury is going to be allowed to talk. It might mean that John Fury is just there and he wants his dad by his side. and that Emmanuel Schure's giving the instructions, or Andy Lee can as well. It might mean that. I would be very surprised if you hear John Fury's voice on Fight Night. You didn't even see him at the press conference and that as well. I think there'll be some harsher guidelines on him harsher things for him to follow for
Mhm.
this one. I don't think Fury, knowing the man that he is, would keep it the exact same with the
Mhm.
same rules. I would very much expect him to. Do you remember when he fought Chisora and before in the press conference he had to? I don't know if you might be a bit young at the time, but like he had to have that tape over his mouth, and he put the British Boxing Board of
Mhm.
Control on there. He might do that to his dad, maybe, but
No.
but he might put some masking tape on it. But I would be very surprised if he kept it the same. I don't think he will.
Well, Shane, top man, I do appreciate your time today, and best of luck tonight with all the fighters you've got out in action. And hopefully, we see them pick up the. Hopefully, Abdul Khan pick up the title tonight.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Top man. I appreciate it, buddy.
Cheers.